the hype music has finished. The blackcurrant squash is in my hand. The hat is on, despite the fact that I'm inside. This can only mean one thing. FPL is back. It's back, guys. Welcome to FPL, mate, your best mate for fantasy football, fantasy Premier League football for the 2020-21 season. My name is Dan, and oh my God, it's good to be back. It's so good to be back, guys. I can't believe it. Honestly, this international break has just seemed to drag on and on and on and on and on. It seemed to be the never-ending international break. Honestly, I can't remember a break lasting this long. I don't know if you guys feel the same way. It's just seemed to have just lasted forever. It's crazy, guys. But we're back. And we're going to talk about some FPL for a little bit, and I'm really excited about this game week. I really am. This is my last game week without before my wildcard. So this is going to be hopefully a good one. My team is pretty well set up. I will show you it in a second. Let's see who's in the chat today. So we've got Dan Cross, the moderator extraordinaire. Matthew C, how's it going? Crisis Point, Car Thief 18, Adam Pearce. Loads of you guys in. It's very good to see you all. Vincent says, Dan, when are you having a haircut? Oh my God, as soon as possible. Yeah, no, you can't quite have haircuts yet in the UK, as some of you all know. Haircuts are not available, but soon I'll have one, and soon we'll sort this absolute mess out on top of my head. We'll sort it out. Also need to make my transfer. I think we're going to do that fairly early. Just wanted to whip on screen my scores from last week very quickly. It did pretty good, actually. 62 points, which is not bad in the blank game week, to be honest. So yeah, not too bad. Not too bad, generally speaking. But let's talk about game week 30, because that's what we're all here for. So I'm going to pick my team. I'm going to make my transfer as well. In fact, yeah, let's do the transfer first, and then we'll go on the pick team selection screen. I usually come into these streams 100% sure on how I'm going to line up, but I would say that I am not 100%. I'm sort of 90% confident, but I think there's potential for me to make changes if you guys manage to convince me, to be honest. Right, so we're going to put Alonso in for Ben White. You guys know I have not shut up about Alonso all week for good reason. I'm hyping him up. We've got the Alonso hype train going. Someone's got to do it. Someone's got to hype up this man. So Ben White out, Marcus Alonso. That's not how you pronounce Alonso, but whatever. Let's stick him in my team. It is decided. Let's go. Have a look at this. And that, guys, is currently how I am set up. Not bad. Not bad. Jeffrey Jefferson says, Dan, why are you wearing a Mansfield Town top? It's not actually. It's a Brazil. It's not an official Brazil top, but it's a nice little top I picked up a couple of years ago. So there we go. Mash says, anyone missing sound? Sound should be on. I think we're good for sound. Dan Cross says, you're channeling your inner David Luiz / Marcelo with the shirt and haircut. Absolutely. Channeling my inner Willian. I think I look pretty cool. A couple of people saying, don't do it. Don't make the transfer. Too late, guys. It's done. It is decided. No, absolutely loving that. Loving this transfer of Marcus Alonso. And guys, if any of you are after a 1 week punt, Alonso is the one for me. And I'm not going to tell you guys that it's 100% that Alonso is going to start. I would not be picking Alonso if I had a bad bench, but ultimately I've actually got a pretty strong bench. So if Alonso doesn't start, the chances are he's not coming off the bench anyway. So he actually could be a pretty good shout for the game week. If he does start, he is the best Chelsea player. He's the best Chelsea player at Chelsea you could possibly have. So if it's always the case, and this is what I've said pretty much all week. is if Alonso plays, this is going to be awesome. If he doesn't play, oh well, okay, we took the risk, didn't we? But at least I've got a decent bench to cover it. So that's kind of my thoughts on that one. Obviously, guys, if you are not looking for a 1 week punt, if you've not got a wild card, then I don't really want to recommend Alonso because he's not nailed on. Alonso's not going to play every single game. Owen says, "We'll check out the league reference." Yeah, absolutely. One of my favourite ever shows. Yeah, Alonso is not a long-term option, really. Because I'm wildcarding in game week 31, it makes it very easy for me to take a 1 week punt on a player. So, guys, a lot of you will be in a similar situation. You want to take a 1 week punt on a player for this game week, and then you're going to be wildcarding them out next game week. You've got a few options, really. I would say the two biggest options for a 1 week punt in this game week are probably Alonso and Rafinha. A lot of you guys will already have Rafinha. Maybe you can go for Alonso. Another 1 week punt, if you haven't got him, you could go for maybe Patrick Bamford. That'd be a really nice 1 week punt. Who else would be a good 1 week punt? You know, Dallas, Lingard, maybe. There's a few 1 week punts you can go for if this is kind of your situation that you're wildcarding next game week. But anyway, the only minor thing is I've kind of got Watkins and Gundogan on the bench there, who I'd actually probably quite like to play. I'm now thinking, well, over the last 24, 48 hours, I've kind of been thinking maybe I should actually be taking out Cancelo and replacing them with either Watkins or Gundogan. Because if anyone's not starting from Man City, it's actually maybe going to be Cancelo. I do think Cancelo and Gundogan both have a little bit of a risk of not playing, or at least not starting for Man City, just because they've played so much football over the international break. But at the same time, this Man City team hasn't played together in so long. There's kind of the impression that maybe Pep Guardiola would like to have all his team back together for one game. I would think that at least that applies to Kevin De Bruyne. Kevin De Bruyne is sort of the centre of the team, the centre of a team that hasn't played together for, a couple of weeks now. Several weeks, in fact, because Man City, of course, didn't play during the blank game week. Or, I think it's... I think De Bruyne is going to be okay. Cancelo and Gundogan are a bit more risky. Matthew C says, saw from Ben Krellin's Twitter that we might have another big double game week 35. Perhaps better to save the wild card. Yeah, potentially. You could of course, save your wild card. However, and this is kind of the big however, the earlier you use your wild card, the earlier you can reset your team to something that you perhaps quite like. For every game week you go without using your wild card, you are going a game week without having the ideal players that you want. So you might actually, in the long term, losing more points than you gain. That's kind of a big thing to think about when using your wildcard. And it really is situational. It depends on you. If your team is in an absolute mess, don't just save your wildcard thinking, oh, well, there's a decent double game week or a blank game week coming or something like that. Use it now, and over the long term, you will gain more points. That is a kind of a thing that's happened in previous seasons, that actually earlier wildcards have actually benefited more in the long run. Just a little bit of food for thought there, guys. But with me, I think because there's this major fixture swing, and I'm going to be taking out a lot of players that I actually don't want. So, my 3 Leeds players, they're going immediately. So that's 3 players I'd want to be replacing already. Alonso I wouldn't keep. Digne I wouldn't keep. I would remove 2 Man City players. I would remove Watkins. I would remove Pope. I would remove Dunk. So you can see already that my team is going to be changing so much that it's definitely worth doing this wildcard in Game Week 31, because my team is just going to change so much, and I can set my whole team up for the rest of the season, which is something I'd really quite like to do. I'd like to, go and double up on Chelsea's defence. I want to, make sure I've still got my Spurs guys. I want to make sure I've got maybe a little bit of Arsenal cover, a little bit of Liverpool cover, and, just do a lot more with my team. So it's going to be nice and easy for me to go in on that wildcard. We've had a super chat from Akin. What do you make of West Ham versus Wolves? Well, Wolves, I've kind of been looking at the stats, and I know you kind of look at Wolves, okay, maybe they only concede 1 or 2 goals per game, but the underlying stats for Wolves actually suggest they're in a little bit of trouble. So Sheffield United are obviously the worst defence in the league. The second worst defence in the league is, according to expected goals conceded and, you know, shots conceded and stuff like that, Wolves are actually the second worst team in the league on the last sort of 5-6 games. So for that reason, West Ham players against Wolves is actually really nice to go for. You know, Lingard's a really good shout for Gameweek 30. Antonio's a really good shout for Gameweek 30. If you've got Creswell defenders, I'd be a little bit more cautious. We know Masuaku is back. Maybe that means, you know, Creswell slots into the left centre-back position. I know he gets most of his points from, you know, corners and stuff like that, free kicks. But still, we do prefer our players higher up the pitch if possible. So yeah, West Ham versus Wolves. I do think going in on West Ham players against Wolves is a good idea. I wouldn't be benching players like Lingard or Antonio. And I've actually seen a few people benching players like Lingard and Antonio. Really wouldn't recommend it, because I do think West Ham are going to get some goal scoring opportunities in this game, for sure. So yeah, consider it. Ronan O'Meara says, what do you think of Ziyech for 1 week? Not really too keen on it, to be honest. I think if I was going to go for a Chelsea player around that budget, I'd probably be going for Havertz, if I'm honest. Or Mason Mount, maybe. But Havertz is a little bit more differential, a bit more of a nice 1 week punt type player, isn't he? You know, you can take a little bit of a risk on Havertz. However, that said, I'm not massively keen on going in on a lot of Chelsea players, just because they don't score a lot of goals, Chelsea, at the moment. They really don't. So, you know, you're hoping for a haul from your player, obviously, but it's difficult to predict who's going to get those points. You know, if Alonso plays, he's got a very good chance of getting amongst the points. Werner has, Ziyech has, Havertz has, Mount has, Jorginho if it's a penalty or something like that. We know Kante's not back yet. You know, Pulisic, he's back and ready to go. Not sure who's going to be playing up front. I would imagine it's going to be Havertz, to be honest. So, all in all, the difficulty with picking a Chelsea attacker is that it's very difficult, but there's not enough goals to go around. If Chelsea were winning sort of, scoring like 3 or 4 goals per game, then it'd be like, yeah, okay, let's pick out the best Chelsea attacker. But they've got so many different attackers, and I've been saying this all season, to be fair. They've got so many good attacking players. There's no standout attacking player right now. I mean, on very recent form, Havertz has stood out, mostly because he's been playing as a forward. Mount has stood out a little bit as well. But all in all, it kind of seems a little bit, you know, too much risk, not enough reward for me to go for Chelsea attackers. But I'm all about their defence, absolutely loving it. You know, all competitions, guys, in Chelsea's last 10 games in all competitions, they've only conceded in 1 game. That's absolutely crazy. Wasn't it an own goal as well, or was that the one in 11 games ago? Maybe that was the game 11 games ago. So absolutely crazy stuff there. But yeah, my question still remains: do I want to go for Watkins ahead of probably Cancelo, to be honest? It's a difficult one. I don't know. This is the thing. A lot of people have got Watkins and Gundogan. Not really sure who to play. Fulham are still up there with the best defensives, but they have slipped a little bit. Aston Villa, are they going to be benefiting from Grealish being back? You would say that they probably would. But Fulham is not a good fixture to target by any stretch of the imagination. Gundogan against Leicester. Leicester are a good defence. Gundogan has played a lot of football over the international break. A hell of a lot of football. At least Watkins is rested and you know Watkins is going to play. Would Leicester get a goal against Man City? I mean, to be fair, you'd say potentially. Man City have just slipped a little bit defensively recently. Chelsea are kind of the big defensive guys now. So this is why I'm not so keen on Man City players going forward. well, one of the many reasons I'm not keen on Man City players going forward. Let's see what my team looks like with that. And I don't know, maybe back the attacker here, and then Cancelo can just... Well, let's just have a look at it. Although I still feel like I would prefer to play Cancelo there, to be honest. I'll do something like that. Got a couple of super chats. Let's have a look at those. Carl Marius says, what do you think about Lucas Moura? I'm thinking of bringing him in instead of Son to have enough money to upgrade Gundogan to De Bruyne later. Well, you would probably say that, okay, yeah, Lucas Moura and De Bruyne is probably a nicer combo than Son and Gundogan. But at the same time, you know, you don't know when Lucas is going to slip out of the Spurs team again. Yes, he's been playing recently, which has been quite nice. But, yeah, that's a really difficult question, to be honest. I'm not massively hyped on Lucas Moura. His underlying numbers don't look amazing, to be honest. I would much prefer to have Son, Upgrading to Gundogan to De Bruyne later, I'm not sure if it's worth it. I kind of feel like we should actually be starting to look away from Man City players. But at the same time, it's De Bruyne, isn't it? It's De Bruyne. When you say later, De Bruyne misses game week 33, so you're only talking about having De Bruyne for game week 31 and game week 32 if you're doing it next game week. If you're doing it the week after, then you're only having De Bruyne for one game week. So, yeah, that's a difficult one. I wonder if you can sacrifice elsewhere. Yeah, not sure about that one. Kind of a tricky one. I'm going to just get my phone up because... there was another super chat. Oh, here it is. Bobby says, surely Watkins over Cancelo. City won't keep clean sheets. Cancelo could not start. Grealish is back to help. Watkins all makes sense. Yeah, this is exactly everything that's going on in my head right now, and that's exactly why I've just put it on up there. To be fair, the team that I had when I started the stream was the team that I had laid out when I made my team selection video, which was my thoughts at the time. However, I am sort of coming to the same conclusion as you, where we're thinking, you know, Cancelo, good chance of not starting, good chance of City conceding a goal. The thing is, I put Watkins in and I expect 2 points, if I'm honest. I do expect 2 points. I'm not going to sit here and say I think Watkins is going to get a haul, because I don't think he's going to get a haul. So yeah, that's the only thing. That's the kind of the only player on my team that I'm not actually really confident about is Watkins, Cancelo, and Gundogan. Those three players. It's just a case of picking which one I am the least confident about. Double negative, that works. So yeah, who do I go for? I mean, usually I'd say back the attacker, wouldn't I? I think maybe I've been going a little bit strong on Fulham recently, like hyping up their defence. But they did concede twice against Leeds. So I don't know. Maybe back the attacker then. Ralph Silverthorne is looking for a 1 week punt. He says Grealish to Mount or Cancelo to Alonso. I definitely prefer Cancelo to Alonso, but you have to know the risk. If you understand the risk. And by the way, on Mason Mount, I think there is every chance that he doesn't start, because Mount, you know, Mount has played a lot of football over the international break as well. Johnny Rock says, after this game week, we need a Rafinha emoji. I tell you what, guys, if Rafinha does the business for me this game week, we're getting a Rafinha emoji, that's for sure. I might even put him in my Twitter header and stuff like that, if he delivers a legend status. Which is, by the way, another reason why this Brazil shirt is on, because of Rafinha. I'm repping the Brazilians' colours for the big man himself. I love Rafinha, man. I think he's so good he's just so good at footy. No, he's class. Yeah, looking forward to seeing what he can do, to be honest. Jaya Sealand says, Watkins out for DCL and Diaz out for Aspi. Triple captain Kane. Right move, your opinion. Watkins out for DCL, probably not. I don't know if you gain enough points, but it depends. If you're taking a -4, no. If you're just doing it with your free transfer, then go for it. DS out for Aspi, I do like a lot, short term. I'd maybe actually want Diaz in my team. I'm wondering if that's the kind of thing. Diaz is not a player I'd necessarily want to be removing from my team. But Azpilicueta is definitely the right player to bring in. Triple Captain Kane, on the other hand, no. Wait for Game Week 32. Spurs have got double Game Week in Game Week 32. And this goes for all of you guys who do have your Triple Captain chip left in the bag. Wait till Game Week 32. You've got Harry Kane playing against... Who is it? Everton and Southampton? That sounds right in my head. You've got Son playing there as well. You could potentially go for him. So you got a couple of nice triple captain options there for a nice double game week. Potentially more double game weeks in later on in the season. I think it's game week 25. So yeah, Adam Doran says, will Trent be in your game week 31 wildcard? Actually, he is in my current draft. Which, guys, if we go on this stream long enough, I can actually activate my wildcard during this stream. If you guys are interested in that, if anyone's still here after the deadline, I'll perhaps activate my wildcard if we're on for long enough. Thing is, it takes ages for FPL to update, so I probably won't actually be able to do my wildcard until later on. Maybe I will stop the stream and then come back when FPL is updated, and we'll do a little, just a mini 20-minute, half an hour wildcard early thoughts type stream. Might have a little bit of watch back ability if anyone wants to watch it back as well. So we'll think about doing that. Matthew C says, we need an Alonso emoji if he starts, but scores no goal and gets sent off for a simulation. Yeah, I mean, that's going to be... that Twitter, FPL Twitter is going to explode if Alonso, comes off the bench, scores an own goal and gets a red card. Something like that. It's going to be crazy. I do kind of want to, as much as I am hyping up Alonso, I do think we need to appreciate the chance that he won't start. I'm not trying to... Oh, sorry guys. I'm not trying to predict the future. I do think there's a chance that Alonso won't play. I think he should play. He's the most rested. He's not played football in a while, so he needs to get back playing. This is the kind of game that Alonso would typically play in. He's got the height as well for those set pieces. He's like 6'2", Alonso, isn't he? He's a tall guy, maybe 6'1". Ethan Fernandez says, Bamford, Rafinha or Kane captain. I would probably edge towards... I'm captaining Rafinha. I mean, I put a whole video out on it yesterday and spoke about... Well, not yesterday, the day before maybe. Where we spoke about Bamford, Rafinha and Kane for captain. If you want to play it safe, go for Kane. If you want to take a little bit of a risk, go for Bamford. If you want to take a bigger risk, go for Rafinha. We're all about the risks over on this channel at the moment, and it seems to be going pretty well. So, Rafinha is definitely the one for me. I think he is genuinely the best captain option. I genuinely think he is the best option. However, he's not the safest option because so many people are going to be going for Bruno Fernandes, Harry Kane, maybe a few people on Son, maybe a few people on Bamford, and then, people going for Mason Mount, which that one I don't really like, if I'm honest. And then it's going to be sort of Rafinha after that. So it's going to be quite differential for a captain, I think. I don't think people fully trust a 5.7 midfielder with the captain's armband. And at the beginning of the season, I would have told you the exact same thing. Just because I didn't want to take any risks or appear to be stupid. But, second half of the season so far, things have been going pretty well. And that's a lot is to do down to making kind of decisions that aren't obvious necessarily. And they're a little bit out there and are kind of not as afraid of ridicule. Because if Rafinha doesn't score, people are going to be like, oh, well, that's what happens when you captain a 5.7 million midfielder. Harry Kane was right there. He's a premium. Not all about that. Rafinha is putting out the most insane numbers. Dan Cross says that the Alonso debate is just wildcarders versus non-wildcarders. They're just jealous we have it in the bank. Yeah, I completely agree. It's so true, isn't it? Like, there's a few, well, at least one YouTuber who said, hopes Alonso blanks. I know he doesn't have a wild card, so that's why he hopes Alonso blanks, because he wishes he had him. But we have him, guys. And guys, hats off to any of you guys who have gone for Alonso as well, because this is the big move. It's the big move of the week. This is the big risk. Will there be a big payoff? Who knows? Oliver says, not thinking about captaining Alonso. Of course, I've thought about it, but yeah, just having Alonso is enough of a differential, to be honest. I don't think you need to go any further than that. Plus, there is a really good chance this Leeds versus Sheffield United game could easily be like 4-0 to Leeds or something. And if it's 4-0 to Leeds, you just know that Rafinha is getting 2-3 goal contributions. You just know it. And you don't want to miss out on those points. No way. I can't wait to watch that game, to be honest. Like, it's crazy. At the beginning of the season, would you say, oh, I'm really hyped to watch Leeds versus Sheffield United? Probably not. But this is what FPL does, and it's why I love it so much, to be honest. Edward Evans says, should I get in Son for Gundogan? I have Bale and KDB. Yeah, Son is definitely a player you will kind of want for the next few game weeks. You want him for Gameweek 32, where he has the double. This is a nice game week for him. I certainly would prefer to have Son in my team than I would have Gundogan in my team right now. You have Bale and KDB already. Like I was saying earlier, it might be times, particularly if you don't have a wild card, to slowly take out some Man City players, as they're going to cause you some trouble in Game Week 32. And you should prioritise Spurs players. The triple up on Spurs is interesting. Bale, I'm growing less and less keen on as time goes by, if I'm honest. Though I would keep him for this game week for sure. So, yeah, there you go. What other questions you got? Any other longer questions that I can answer? So, a couple of members have got questions here. So, Olivia says, I have no Leeds players. I'm going to hide behind the sofa. Yeah, I don't blame you. It's going to be a big one. It's going to be a big one for the Leeds players. It really is. I mean, I think it is anyway. The fact that I'm tripled up on Leeds is such a relief, to be honest. Ethan says, I want to take a calculated risk, so who to captain, Bamford, Rafinha or Kane captain? Well, if you're happy to take a risk, then Rafinha is very much a calculated risk, because he is, in my opinion, the most likely player to haul this game week. And that's the calculation, but it is a risk. If you're happy with your rank, you want to just hold your rank, Captain Kane. If you want to push up a little bit, or at least give yourself an opportunity to push up a little bit, Captain Rafinha. Or Bamford. Bamford is also a very good shout. Bamford is a nice middle ground. There's no middle ground over here, guys. No middle ground. We are going all in. I've got the Brazil shirt on ready. Let's go, Rafinha. Hey, Dan, Bruno or Kane to captain? Definitely Kane. I think kind of when I look at Bruno Fernandes, yeah, I'll talk about Bruno Fernandes for a second, because I know a lot of you guys, I know Dan Cross is captain in Bruno, and a few of you guys will be. I'm really not convinced by this one. I think if you're captain in Bruno, you're leaving things completely in fate's hand, because this is not a captain that is, it's not a player you can confidently predict that he's going to get a load of points. I don't think, anyway. Sort of Brighton are still putting up some of the best defensive numbers in the Premier League. No one is shooting. Brighton are conceding so few shots. Bruno Fernandes' shots have dropped off massively over the last month or so. Bruno's not shooting much. Brighton aren't conceding many shots. you're pretty much relying on a penalty. Over the last 5 game weeks, Bruno's 2 goals have been penalties. Fair enough, Brighton might concede a penalty, but you are leaving it in fate's hand. You are basically going through a game wishing that Manchester United receive a penalty and Bruno takes it and scores it. That is not how I like to choose my captains personally. Fair enough if you want to go for that, but you know, I will definitely not recommend it. Particularly if you've got a player like Harry Kane, who will be just as much as a differential or whatever, but has a much higher chance of getting more points. You know, Kane, you'd confidently say he's going to score in open play. So, Tanmay says Alonso or Werner for a 1 week punt. Alonso is my choice as a 1 week punt. Werner is probably a slightly safer 1 week punt, but I don't know. Werner still is not a player I'm too keen on going for. And I don't think he ever will be. You know, I prefer, if you want to go for a Chelsea player for a 1 week punt, I would choose Alonso first. That's super risky, and then I'd probably choose Kai Havertz after that, if I'm honest. Anyway, that's kind of my spiel on Bruno Fernandes. Dan Cross, I know you're a good fantasy manager, so please, I would love to see your justification for captaining Bruno, because maybe I've actually missed something out. I've lost the plot somehow. So yeah, if you could, I'll read it out and we can maybe have a bit of discussion. Ramsey Unleashed said, I missed some of your streams when at work in the past. No worries, man. Would be a higher rank. Yeah. You seem to be doing okay. 1,708 points. Took too many hits. Yeah, it could be worse, man. Could be a lot worse, and we've still got a lot of the season left. You know, a kind of just under a quarter of the season left, so you can get up a little bit higher. Don't worry about it, man. You got this. You got this, bro. That goes for anyone. Ethan Fernandez says, I'm 94k, so trying to get higher up the ranks. Yeah, go for Rafinha then. If you're not worried about dropping out, like I'm going a bit lower, then yeah, go in for Rafinha. He is risky though. Moyank says Watkins or Reguilon. That's a tricky one, to be fair. Arguably, you back the attacker, but Newcastle are just not very good at scoring goals. And Spurs' underlying defensive numbers have improved. They have improved. They just have this knack of conceding, don't they? Maybe go for Reguilon. Mo Salah says, looking for another punt besides Alonso. Who to go for? Kai Havertz, maybe. You know, Rafinha, Bamford, Dallas. There's options. The 2 games I'd be focusing on really as a 1 week punt would be Chelsea players against West Brom and Leeds players against Sheffield United. You could arguably say Spurs players against Newcastle, but you know, I don't think I'd punt on any players outside of Kane and Son, and they're not really punts because most people have those players anyway, don't they? Max Pike, thank you very much for the super chat, man. I really appreciate that, dude. Maxi X says, do you think Chelsea use Ben Chilwell? If I thought that, I wouldn't bring in Alonso. I think this is a prediction. I can't tell the future, but if I was to guess, I think Alonso is more likely to start than Ben Chilwell, if I'm honest. De Bruyne in for Gundogan. If you can make that transfer, then go for it. If you can easily make that transfer. A few people saying about captain Alonso. You could captain Alonso, but if you've got Rafinha, I think Rafinha is the best differential captain option. Not Alonso. Alonso is just like stupidly risky. But it's a weird kind of risk whereby if he plays, you know, you're maybe guaranteed that clean sheet anyway. It's a toughie. It's a tough one. But no, Rafinha, I would be pretty confident in captaining him. I mean, I am pretty confident in captaining him. This is not one I'm really worried about. You know, yes, it's a risk, but it's not a risk I'm worried about because, you know, even if no one else is captaining Rafinha and I'm super differential here, at the end of the day, I do back Rafinha to match Kane's points, to match Bamford's points, to beat Bruno Fernandes' points, to beat De Bruyne's points, etc., etc. Right, Dan Cross is back with his answer. To be honest, just a feeling. My bus team had it, and I'd hate to change it now. Maybe taking the traditional home and away in too much, which hasn't been too much of a factor this season. Pen Merchant, yes. I mean, yeah, fair enough on the penalties. Like, you can't really argue against that. If Manchester United get a penalty awarded, then, you know, suddenly we're all saying, yeah, we should have captained Bruno, shouldn't we? He always gets penalties. But yeah, no, nothing wrong with going on gut feelings. Nothing wrong with that at all. You know, especially if it's making the game more fun. Max Pike says, I forgot to ask my question with the super chat. I don't think you can actually ask a question with a £1 super chat. I think it has to be like £1 and 1 pence or more. I know it's a weird situation. I don't make the rules. This is YouTube. Max Pike, if you want to put your question in the chat, I will keep an eye out for it, man. Oh, now I've got to pronounce a Icelandic name. Maybe? I don't know. I don't know how to pronounce that first character, but let's assume it's a P because it looks kind of like an English P. Pormunda Helgeson, thank you so much for the super chat. He says, thanks for great content and good tips. Currently only 30 points behind you. Well, I mean, I would say good luck on catching me up, but I want to do well as well. But no, I'm glad I can help. Thank you so much for the support and watching. Really appreciate that, dude. And sorry if I've absolutely butchered your name. It's a cool name. Like, you know, the Icelandics have amazing names, don't they? And yeah, pretty cool. I've got, you know, viewers watching from over on your island. That's awesome. Okay. So Harsh Marota says, sell Salah for Fernandes. Probably not this game week. Maybe wait till next game week. Gaming Now says, Alonso gang, where you at? Where are you at? I don't know how many of you guys went for Alonso in the end. I'm wondering how many of you guys went for Rafinha. After the deadline, we'll ask the question of who captained who. We'll go over that in a bit. More pay to DCL. Is it a 1 week punt? I'd probably prefer to go more pay to Antonio, if I'm honest, for longer term. DCL is not a player. I don't think I'd want DCL longer term. That's the thing. But I guess, yeah, DCL for this game week is actually pretty nice, to be fair. I kind of do wish I could swap Watkins for DCL, but not enough that I would take a -4 for it. Mara's a good differential. Kinda. I wouldn't be bringing in Martial. Mahrez. I wouldn't be trying to bring in Mahrez, but if I already had him, then yeah, I'd be keeping him. Do you think Rudiger plays today? He started all 3 games for Germany. I'm actually kind of interested in how this is going to play out because Thiago Silva's back, right? He's back in the Chelsea training. I'm assuming he's going to come straight back into the team, or is he? Maybe he doesn't. If he doesn't, Rudiger plays. If he does, then either Rudiger or Christensen, one of them is going to miss out. And on form, oh Christ, I dropped my phone. On form, Christensen is kind of played much better. He's been Christensen's been awesome. What are you drinking today, Dan? Same as usual. The blackcurrant squash. It's the stream special brew. That's what I should call it. Very boring. Great to hear the pronunciation. The P symbol is similar to the TH. It's Thormunda. Thormunda sounds a lot cooler than Pormunda, to be fair. Ethan Fernandez says bench Cancelo or play Aina or vice versa. Play Cancelo over Aina, I think. Darren Wakefield says, let's hope Rafinha does get some points, otherwise it's going to be a long game week. Yeah. So true, man. So true. Leeds playing in the second game of the game week as well, and we're going to have to, you just have to wait and wait and wait. Just hope that Harry Kane doesn't do the business. Is Watkins out for Bamford for -4 a smart punt? Actually, it's an interesting one. It's definitely an interesting one. Yeah, with -4s, you're never fully sure. And for a 1 week punt, a -4 usually isn't a good idea. But at the same time, Bamford could be on for a really nice score. It's a risk. Maybe we can go for it. Dan Cross says, can we just call you Thor? Yeah, Thor is short for Thormonder. I'm sure a lot of people call you Thor. It's a sick name, man. It's a really cool name. We've got another super chat, but it's not come up on my screen, so I will look at my phone and find it here instead. Oh. Something went wrong with my stream. Well, this is worrying. Oh, here we go. Okay, so Carl says, I think about getting rid of Dunk. Oh, it's on my screen. I think about getting rid of Dunk. What do you think about bringing in Shaw or Azpilicueta? I already have Rudiger, Diaz, Digne and Reguilon. Double up on that Chelsea defence. I don't think there's any problem with that. Bring in Azpilicueta. Yeah. I think Shaw is a good shout for this game week, but longer term, Azpilicueta, you know, he's a player I kind of do want on my team. You know, probably the most nailed on of the Chelsea defenders. Chelsea have got this excellent run of 5 fixtures. And, yeah, basically. Ramsey Lee says 50 minutes before deadline. Dan, this is your final team. Is it my final team? Is my team been saved? Let's refresh it. Do I want to commit to this? Am I? I think I am. I'm going to just back the attacker, I think. Take a risk, you know. See what happens. Benching Cancelo and Gundogan is not something I'm happy about doing, though. Let me tell you that. That is a scary, scary thing to do. But oh well. Could work. Yeah, I'm looking at my team. I'm eyeballing it all over. And guys, I like it. It is a very, very, very attractive team. It's a hot and spicy team ready to go. Yeah, no, I'm pretty confident of a green arrow this game week, to be honest. It's just a case of how much. The triple up on Leeds is going to be just everything for me. You know, the fact that I've still got Son. Guys, do you know that over 400,000 people have sold Son this game week? Despite the fact he's about to play Newcastle, despite the fact that he's got a double game week in game week 32, man, if you've kept on to Son, I feel like that's huge. What is Son's ownership down to? It must have dropped so much, particularly his active players' ownership. It's down to 42.9%. Okay, so he's not differential yet, but you would say that because so many active players have got rid of him, that's going to be pretty. That's going to be pretty big, to be honest. His live ownership is probably only like 30% of active players, I would say. Uzi Automatic says, I also bench Cancelo and good though. Now I'm worried about the Dan curse. To be fair, the curse has pretty much been lifted. The curse ended when I actually grew some balls and started making the moves that were a little bit risky and that I actually wanted to make, instead of cowering behind a screen saying, oh guys, please like my sensible transfers. I'm so glad that period is behind me. But no, the curse is lifted. No injuries recently, or no particularly worrying injuries that have revolutionised life. It's been going pretty well. You know, I have seen since like game week. I think game week 19, I was, so that's 10 game weeks ago. I was ranked sort of 600,000th in the world, and now I'm up to 151,000. That's a huge increase. And now we're well on the charge to get into the top 100k. Don't think we'll do it this game week. Probably there's a good chance by game week 30, by the end of game week 31, I'll be in the top 100k. Maybe that's a little bit ambitious. Maybe I'm thinking a little bit too positively. But with such a nice team for this game week, and whatever team I want next game week with a wild card, it's going to be a good couple of game weeks. Mad Sylvester B says, how important is Kane? I'm having a lot of trouble trying to get him in. I would say between game week 31 and game week well, yeah, game week 30. Well, between now and game week 32, I would say Kane is literally the most important team to have, most important player to have in your team. So I really would make sure, guys, that you do have Kane in. You kind of just got to have him. I waited far too long to get Kane in, and I did take a little bit of a. My rank took a little bit of a beating at one point over the last few game weeks because I brought in Kane too late. I only brought him in last game week, which is too late. Guys, by the way, at 5 minutes to 5 minutes to deadline, we'll do quick fire again, and we're going to try and answer 100 questions again. 100 questions in 5 minutes. We'll do that at 5-2. So I don't know if anyone has got I think last time a few of you guys had a clicker or something you click every time I answer a question to try and work out how many questions I answered in 5 minutes. Kane's effective ownership in 32 is going to be ridiculous. Hell yeah, it is. There's every chance it could be over 200%. When we're talking triple captains as well, you've got to get close to 200 at least. Possibly the highest this season. Start one, Antonio Diaz or Gundogan. I would start Antonio. Yeah, someone's saying there might be a bit of a chat delay. I wonder if it's going to catch itself up. Oh, no, it's here. Yeah, the chat's caught up with itself a little bit at least. When do we play the wild card? I'm playing it at game week 31. Matthew C has tripled up on Chelsea defence by taking a -4 for Mendy. Wow, that's big. Fair play. Fair play. Target out for Rudiger, maybe. The thing is, I'm not 100% sure if Rudiger's actually going to be playing regular football. A lot of quick fire questions coming in. Save the quick fire questions. We'll start at 5-2. I need one of you guys to count how many questions I answer, and duplicate questions count. Questions that don't relate to FPL count towards the numbers. All questions count as long as I answer them. They count towards the number. Why Rafinha not Bamford captain? Because basically Rafinha is putting up similar shooting numbers to Bamford, but Rafinha gets an extra point per goal. He gets an extra point for a clean sheet, and he gets he has a lot more creativity in his game, so he has the chance of assists as well. So just because Rafinha is shooting kind of almost as well, he's actually shooting more than Bamford, Rafinha is, but Bamford's quality of chances is just a little bit higher than Rafinha's. And I do think Bamford's probably a slightly better finisher as well than Rafinha. But because Rafinha has all of these other avenues of getting points, I just prefer him for captain. Can't believe how many people are going for a Werner punt. That's crazy. Bench Mount or Gundogan? I would definitely bench Gundogan over Mount, I think. Will Kai start? I think so, yeah. I think Kai Havertz, I think he's going to start. He should do. Don't see why I wouldn't. A few people saying about KDB captain. I mean, you could potentially do it. KDB does like a big game. I just think there are so many better options. Usually, unless De Bruyne has a good fixture, De Bruyne is kind of more of a fallback captain, a captain you go for if there's nothing else that really stands out. But there are so many other players that stand out. We talk about Rafinha, Bamford, Kane, Bruno Fernandes, Marcus Alonso, if you fancy a real risk there. Some people talking about Stuart Dallas, some people talking about Lingard, some people talking about Mason Mount or Werner. There's lots of options. So, I don't know, it's difficult for me to confidently say go for De Bruyne. Don't underrate Leicester. You know, they're not a bad team. That's all. Aina or Veltman? Definitely go for Aina out of those two for this game week. Son or Rafinha? Oh, Rafinha. I prefer Rafinha to Son. That's why I've captained him, to be fair. Did not get enough sleep last night, but we're gonna stay awake all day for the football. It's a good job I'm excited about, to be honest. When Jack Harrison is the player to haul from the Leeds game, it could happen. Could happen. Dunk to Shaw, yeah, could be a good transfer to make. Lingard, Bale or Watkins, I prefer Lingard out of those three. When to use the wildcard, Gameweek 31 is the one for me. Right, okay, guys, actually, let's start. I'm going to start quickfire questions. So get your quickfire questions in the chat now. And someone count how many questions I answer. I'm going to look on my phone because they appear on my screen a little bit quicker. But let's go on the quickfire questions. So, Diaz or Dallas, I would go for Dallas this game week. Bench Jota or Lingard, I would probably bench Jota. Is Rafinha actually going to get more points than Kane? Maybe. Rafinha with the early kickoff, not worried, not really. Watkins or Lingard, I'll go for Lingard. Captain Aspie or Bamford, I would go for Bamford. Meslier or Martinez, I would go for probably Martinez. Captain Kane or Bruno, I would go for Kane. Kane or Bruno, captain, I'm stuck, go for Kane. Start Target or Cresswell, I would start Target. Bale or Gundogan, I would go for Gundogan probably. Shaw or Target, I would go for Shaw. Watkins out for Bamford. Yeah, I would do that for a 1 week punt. Salah or Watkins, go for Salah. Cancelo or Gundogan, go for Cancelo. Watkins or Grealish, go for Grealish. Maybe. Watkins or Gundogan, go for Watkins. Watkins, Diaz or Salah, play one. Play Salah. Captain Lingard, yeah, maybe. Bit of a risk though. Stones or Target, go for Target this game week. Jota or Antonio, go for Antonio. Bench Watkins or Cresswell, go for Watkins. Bench Cresswell. Start Watkins or Digne. Start Digne. Mara's a good punt, not really. Man City players on your bench, I know. Cresswell or Lingard, go for Lingard. Triple captain Alonso, yes or no? No. Kane or Rafinha, captain. Back Rafinha, he's the man. Dan, let me cut your hair. No. Captain Kane or Fernandes, go for Kane. Martinez or Meslier, go for Martinez. Watkins or Gundo, go for Watkins. Will Saka play? Maybe. Cresswell and Rudiger or Aspie and Sifal, that's too long. Just transferred in Alonso, that's not a question. A Bilk or Root, I don't know what that says. Dunk or Tete, go for Tete. Son or KDB, go for KDB. Diaz or Cresswell, go for Diaz. Maguire or Gundogan, go for Maguire. Jota or Gundogan, go for I don't know. Sofal or Traore, go for Sofal. Start Pope this game week. Yeah, maybe you could do. Mora or Mount, go for Mount. Play Cresswell or Lingard, go for Lingard. Aspie or for Target or roll the transfer, go for Aspie in for a Target, I think. Grealish or Lingard, go for Lingard. Bale or Son, go for Son. Start Antonio or Bale, start Antonio. Captain Kane or Rafinha, go for Rafinha. James or Christensen, I think I prefer Christensen. Son or Bruno, captain, go for probably Bruno over Son, to be honest. Watkins or Gundo, go for Watkins. Which two players should I play? Cresswell, Digne or Reguilon? Go for Digne and Reguilon. Play Target or Cancelo, go for Cancelo. Bench Salah, Watkins or Gundogan. Bench Gundogan. Bamford versus Kane, who's captain? I prefer Kane probably out of those two, but you could go for Bamford for a risk. Christensen or Antonio, go for Antonio, back the attacker. Start Gundogan or Antonio, go for Antonio, back the attacker. The Godfather or Goodfellas, I prefer the Godfather. DCL or Rafinha, go for Rafinha. Gundogan or Cresswell, go for probably Gundogan, back the attacker. Jota and Leno next week for a -4, probably not. Diaz or Cresswell, go for Diaz. Cat or Dog, go for Cat. Start Lingard or Dallas, you want to start both, you need to start both. Lucas Moura or Jota, go for Jota long term. Rudiger or Azpilicueta, captain? No, neither of them. But if you had to choose one, go for Azpilicueta. Start DCL or Lingard, mate. You've got to start both. Mara's a good punt. No. Dawson or Reguilon, go for Dawson here. Lingard or Son, go for. They're both good. You've got to have both. Favourite colour is probably white, I guess. Or yeah, probably white. Mount or Lucas Moura, go for Mount for this game week, I guess. Watkins or Lingard, go for Lingard. Lingard or Grealish, go for Lingard. Cancelo or Cresswell, go for Cancelo. Bench Sofal or Cancelo, go for Cancelo. Maguire or Gundo, go for Gundo. Rafinha or Kane, I prefer Kane. Captain Bamford, Salah or Bruno, go for Bamford out of those three. Start Antonio or Bale. Start Antonio. Hope you had a great game week. Thank you. Cresswell or Aspie, go for Aspie. Bale or Diaz, go for Diaz. Cresswell or Watkins, go for Watkins. Are you the best? Probably not. Marvel or DC, I prefer Marvel. Dallas or Gundo, go for Dallas. Martinez or Pope, go for Martinez. Bench DCL or Gundo, bench Gundogan. Christensen or Antonio, you got to play both, I think. Play Target or Cancelo. Play Cancelo. Cap or Trilby, definitely Cap. Y6 afraid of 7 because 789. Haaland, City or Chelsea, probably City. Diaz or Bale, go for Diaz, or probably Diaz. Bench Gundo or Lingard. Bench Gundo. Bale or Antonio. Play Antonio. Aaron Wan-Bissaka or Keane. Go for Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Breathe. No. Captain Bruno or Rafinha. Go for Rafinha. Lingard or Son. Go for Lingard. Why not? Dallas or Lingard. Have both. But you know, maybe Lingard because he's awesome. Beer or less beer. More beer. Stones or Cody. Go for Stones. Cancelo or Stones. Go for Stones. House or flat. Currently in a flat. Hoping to move to a house soon. Pep or Jose? I prefer Pep. Havertz or Kane, captain? Havertz is way risky, but go for Kane. What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Strike or Cancelo? Go for Strike this game week. Watkins or Gundogan? Go for Watkins. Watkins or Son? Go for Watkins. McNeil or Lookman? Neither. Maybe Lookman. I don't know. Lingard or Christensen? Go for Lingard. Forced it in? Probably not. Alba or Lingard? Both legends. Let's talk FPL or FPL Flair. Don't make me pick. Mendy or Meslier. Go for Mendy. Talk fast or talking slow. Talk fast. And that's it. I don't think I did 100 there. I think that was like, I don't know, like 50. Oh, thank you guys, by the way, for throwing in some easy questions in there to try and help boost my numbers. That's kind of helpful. Guys, that's the deadline. Congratulations. We're all locked in. We are about to start the new game week. How is everyone feeling? I am so excited. Oh, let's see what happens. I hope you guys got your teams locked in on time amongst all of those questions. I know I did. Right, so, I mean, I guess the question we ask now... Dan Cross, the what is love killed me. Yeah, that killed me too. I like that. My throat is absolutely killing me. Whoa, people saying well over 100. Someone says 116, 117. Wow. 107 says Ben Pivetta. Andrew Campbell 116. Okay, all right. A couple of people says 116 here. I'm going to believe you. 116 questions answered. Hey, done it again. Is that 3 weeks in a row? Yeah, you guys like Baby Don't Hurt Me. Right, guys. The question I always ask after every deadline, and I'm not going to stay on today because my throat is actually killing after that. I shouldn't do that every week, probably. It's been a couple of weeks, though. Yeah, guys. Who are you captaining in Game Week 30? Who have you captained in Game Week 30? Put it in the chat. One word only. Who have you captained in Game Week 30? Want to see it, guys. Want to see it. And the chat goes wild. So, Rafinha. Yes, Rafinha boys are in town. A couple of boring Canes. Boring. Boo. Rafinha, Bamford, nice. Guys, I am loving the Rafinha hype in this chat. Guys, this is insane. Love it. Yeah, a few Canes here. The odd Bruno. But we're mostly between three players, aren't we? We're mostly between Kane, Bamford and Rafinha in the chat. We've got the odd Alonso. Posh Boy Bamford. Kane. Rafinha, Kane. Alonso! Absolutely Kane. Christensen. Okay, interesting. Rafinha. Bruno as well. Giroud. That's out there. DCL's out there as well. Guys, I'm loving the amount of Rafinha love I'm seeing in the chat. Man. We are the Rafinha gang up in here, aren't we? This is the Rafinha ultimate gang. Absolutely love that. Bamfinha is the one. Right. Okay. I think we Yeah, good. I'm glad if you guys you're trusting me with it. Yeah, guys, I'm gonna head off. I might do another mini stream at some point and just do a wild card mess around. Maybe if I'm free a bit later or tomorrow, I'll do a mini stream and we'll just mess about with some wild card ideas and maybe answer a couple of wild card related questions. Maybe we'd want to do it before the football, really. I don't know. I'll think about it, guys. I'll announce, if I do that, I'll announce it on Twitter. So if you're not done already, follow me on Twitter at FPLmates. And yeah, I'll chat to you guys there all about the football regardless. We're going to have some hype going on when Rafinha is scoring. We'll have some hype on Twitter. We'll have some hype when Alonso starts. When we find out in 25 minutes, Alonso starts. There you go. So, yeah, guys, thank you for watching, everyone. Welcome back to FPL in general. I'm so excited for this game week to get going. And, yeah, I'll see you later, mates. Bye-bye. Good luck. Bye.